Purpose in the Youth. Purpose in the Youth. Purpose in the Youth podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast.
Don't give up until you find your thing.
Don't be afraid that you don't know what you want to do yet, because I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. I still don't know what I want to do yet.
I'm still trying to figure that out. If you don't have it figured out early, don't think you're never going to find it.
You really make your own opportunity.
What do you genuinely enjoy?
Everything is strategic. I mean, nothing ends up how you want it to end up.
You go around once, there's no dress rehearsal.
But you have to understand yourself to know what your passions are, and then it just comes really easily.
Keep looking for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Today on the podcast, we have Robbie Page, who happens to be the tallest person I've ever had on the podcast.
Hey, it's an honor, Glad to be your tallest guy ever.
Just a quick 7 feet tall. How do you do it? I mean, is it tough walking around sometimes?
It has ups and downs.
Ups
a lot
and
of
downs?
ups, mostly ups.
Yeah, a lot of ups.
Yeah, a lot of ups.
I like
but,
that.
It's fun, man. It's fun being tall. It's crazy.
So
it's always a scene.
It's always a scene. And you're
Always a
always
scene.
like the bird's nest. You get to oversee everything. You get to see everybody, but I feel like too kind of hurts you because people can see you a mile away. They're like, oh, here comes Robbie.
Dude, I can't
Here
hide
he
anywhere,
comes.
man. I can't sneak in places.
No, you
I
can't.
always say if I had one wish, it'd be to be a sneaky little ninja, just
Ooh.
sneak around the cracks,
That little. You ever see that little?
pass events.
You ever see that little?
cut in line.
That little emoji, the guy with the little,
Yes.
sword or something. That could
That'd
be
be
you.
perfect.
That could be you.
Just quick.
So
agile.
I came across you twice. Okay, so Drama had rolled out the Mentor Mondays, and you happened to be number one. And being a big fan of Drama, and being fortunate to have him on the podcast, I saw some clips. I was like, oh, this is dope. This Mentor Monday concept, great. Looked into who you were, saw what you're doing. I was like, this is dope. Like, I love the idea of tea, and I was like, all right, this is cool. Kind of just kept going about my life, whatever, doing my thing. Last week, I have Rob Lawless on the podcast.
Yes.
I had met him back in April. Cool. We have the podcast, great. And I go back and I'm just looking to see who he's recently been meeting up with. And there's Robbie Page. I said, okay, I seen this guy with Drama. Now I'm seeing him with Rob. Third time's a charm. I'm getting him on the podcast.
Let's get together, right?
So
It's time to
I
make
had
it
to reach
happen.
out, and I'm glad we can make this
Yeah,
happen
thanks
today.
for having me today, Bobby. This is fun.
It is an absolute pleasure, my friend. Let's get into it. Who is Robbie Page today, and how young is he?
I'm 25 years old.
Young, 25 years young.
25 years
You're
young,
young.
we'll say.
You're
Exactly,
young. You're young, my
exactly. From upstate New York.
Mhm.
Went to UCLA.
I love that you're from the East
Dude,
Coast.
East Coast is
Let's
huge,
get
man.
it.
It's a
Let's
huge,
get it.
type community, man, out there. I
Yeah.
love it. But it's been fun. I was found in Los Angeles, came to UCLA, and just really fell in love with the culture here and the people and the energy and the vibe and the purpose, man. Everyone here
purpose.
has a purpose.
Yeah, I know.
That's really what it comes down
And this
to.
whole LA vibe, man, I don't know about you, but it's like a dream come true to me to be living
Yeah.
here. Like every day I wake up and I see the sun, I see the palm trees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even driving back on the 5 this morning from the gym, and it's still such a dream to me that I actually live here. It's kind of like I have to pinch myself, remind myself, like, yo, be grateful you live here, bro.
dude,
Because you've
that's
been
a really
dreaming of
good
living out
point.
here since you were a
That
kid.
gives me chills, dude. Like, I grew up my whole life, too. Like, in the back of my head, I was like, West Coast, it's calling
That was
my
always on
name.
your mind, too?
Yeah, for some reason, I knew it, man. And, like, I love the East Coast. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm from a really small town up there. And
Rochester?
yeah, Rochester. Outside of Rochester, though. So country,
Okay,
town
okay.
of 15,000, like, it's really small.
Yep.
And there's a lot of opportunity, but it's pretty simple life, like you make money, become an engineer, become a doctor, become a lawyer. There really is nothing that, like, once I came here and saw the opportunities that exist outside of those, like, really streamlined jobs, it's like, wow, you can do anything you want to do, make a living doing amazing, fun stuff, and have a great time your whole life.
Yeah.
That's just what's so compelling.
And I think it's good to grow up in that small town because it gives you a chance to, like, figure out who you are, which can sometimes be tough. I think growing up in such a big city, you get pulled in all these different directions of, like, yo, come do this, come do that. But it's like when you're in a small town, you have your family, you have your friends, and it's easy to just figure out what do you like to do because there's not so many people there
Life
to
is
judge
simple.
you.
There's not
so
a lot,
much simpler.
so much simpler, man. Is that the same with you? Like,
I mean, Western Mass, I grew up in Chicopee, Mass, near
Yeah.
Springfield. 55,000 people. It was a perfect city, had a little bit of mix of everything, your really nice neighborhoods, but then your projects. So it was a great place for me to grow up. But then, once just the same, just like wanting to get to LA, the West Coast, the opportunities, I was like, man, I got to get out there. I'm curious, the small town outside of Rochester. What's the name of it, by the way?
Victor, New York.
Victor, New York. Do they have the slang of Victor, like New York? Like we're in Victor, New York. Or is that just so stereotypical New York City?
That's like pretty New York City. I feel like upstate New York's a little more. It's way more mellow. You know, you don't have those Long Island accents. It's more. Almost there's some like Canadian twangs in there because we're so close to the border up there.
I got
It's like totally almost like a different state.
It's a different
completely.
Upstate New York
more
is
like
much
Midwest
different.
in a way. You know, it's kind of far out, but everyone's really humble and amazing and nice.
A lot of land, man.
Oh, so much land.
We
Rolling hills of nothing.
Oh
you know?
my God,
it's a beautiful place.
We drove when I was driving out here in September. We drove through. Obviously, we drove right out to Niagara Falls.
Beautiful.
And I was like, man, I don't even feel like I'm in New York. I feel like I'm in the
Exactly.
middle of the country. But I was a little salty because I got a speeding ticket in Niagara Falls.
Dude, that's the thing though. The police out there are really cutthroat, man. If you go over 10 miles an hour over speed limit, you're getting cut.
I said, officer, I'm
done.
not from here. I'm just trying to go see the falls. And he's like, yep, here you go. I was like, all right, well, at least I tried.
We're out here on 90 on the 405. It's cool though. You know?
Yeah.
Just like no problem.
So common. You were just whipping and like, where's the police? Somebody take this guy down.
I know.
They're too
it's
busy.
great.
They're too busy chasing other people out here.
Probably.
Both of your parents were doctors.
They are.
How did that influence you growing up?
Yeah, great question. So I feel like a lot of my childhood, it was really awesome because I kind of grew up in the scene of medicine, and like our dinner conversations were about diagnosing patients and solving problems in like neuroscience research and like crazy stuff. So I kind of grew up in that field. It came very naturally to me. My parents were always preach math and science hard. They'd always make sure I was like top
of the class.
Top of the class for those kind of classes.
Yep.
So I ended up going to UCLA and I studied like neuroscience, behavioral neuroscience.
Oh my God.
So
did you truthfully enjoy like the science classes with like they were kind of pushing you to make sure you're doing good, or
it just honestly like it was just like second nature in a way, because it was just kind of like, I mean, if you're
both your parents are doing it,
they're
both
probably parents are doing it. Like
blood.
it just makes sense, you know. It's like chemistry is probably my favorite subject. Life science was fun, but a lot of memorizing. You know, math, it just makes sense. Like solving problems that you could finish were really fun to me because like besides like a paper, because I feel like a paper you can never get it right. It's always like a threshold of good.
It depends on the teacher.
So true.
It's like they like you. If they don't, they're like,
that's why I really appreciate like those kind of fields where you can like get it right. It's like, I
did it. I got to the
black
end.
and white.
Yes.
It's like, did you find the answer or did you mess it up?
Yes.
So like, I loved that. And like, graduating high school, I kind of felt like I was going pre-med, you know. I was like, what I was supposed to do is what my family did. Went to UCLA, started studying. Within about a year and a half, I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
I could do this, but hey, Mom, I'm going to finish my degree. I'm probably never going to go to med school.
I mean, at least you started to realize that, like, I don't need, this is not what I want to do. Like, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to med school. But how did you end up picking, like, I'm gonna continue on with being a medical, like doing medical in school, like the what was it, neuroscience?
Yeah, behavioral neuroscience was my major. So it was awesome. It was like a really cool major. Did all the pre-med like just prereqs, like all the life science, chemistries, maths, along with a lot of just neuroscience, like really cool dissections of sheep brains, like learning anatomy of the brain and body, and like it was cool to see that also came together with a lot of psychology. So the major itself was kind of like how the body works and why it does what it does. So a lot of the psych was really beneficial for later parts of my life too, just kind of learning like why we do what we do, and how like, anatomically we're built to act and react, you know?
Yeah. But before, I don't want to get into UCLA just yet. Do you have any brothers, sisters?
Yeah.
Okay. How many?
I have a brother and sister, both younger. My brother Steven's total boss. Total boss.
Shout out to Steven.
Super smart guy. Total boss. There you are, Steven. Graduated from Duke. He's doing small circuit board engineering at a biomedical company right now. Total legend. My little sister, also a boss. She just visited me last week. Her name's Melissa.
Okay.
She's at Cornell studying pre-med.
You guys are killing it out here. My God.
Oh, man. They both beat me in every aspect of academia though.
Were you the tallest one of the kids?
Yeah,
though?
way taller.
Yeah.
My family's, I don't know where I came from, but I'm like 9 or 10 inches taller than my next biggest relative.
How does that even happen?
I don't know, man. I'm still trying to figure that out. That's kind of one of those things, you know?
You're just going to have to keep it. I mean, you can't get shorter from here, right? Like,
I'll pass him. Just take some.
I'll gladly try to get up to like 6'4", 6'5". First job as a kid, what was it?
That's a really funny question. I haven't
really
worked for anyone like an official job to this point.
That's
I've
awesome.
kind of always been a creator, and I mean, I ref volleyball leagues in high school just for fun, for extra cash, but really wasn't too serious or anything real.
Yeah.
First real job was playing professional volleyball in Italy on a contract. That was like that
quick volleyball contract, no big deal.
That's like an actual like legitimate job, I'd say. But
let me ask this. I contemplated asking that same question one of two ways. How about this? Do you remember the first time you made money as a kid? How did you make money? Because I know some people, like my buddy Dylan that I live with, he hustled. He's always been a hustler. You know, he would sell rocks to his next door neighbor. Like that was the way.
Yeah. For me, honestly, I wasn't that kind of guy. I kind of grew up my whole life, and I was just, I think I still could be, but like born with just like the ability to like play volleyball and do it amazingly well. So my entire childhood was just like train. Yeah.
Okay.
And all my resources went that way. So I would like make money to train. Like I would just kind of like ref and do this and coach and like keep that going I could like stay strong and keep in the gym. And it really wasn't ever about like, I kind of always just like was like really just dialed in on that mission, you know, become the best possible volleyball player I can. Yeah. And it was cool because I got like, that was kind of like my way to the West Coast, you know. I saw that in my brain. So I wouldn't, it's funny though, like I wouldn't say that I've heard a lot of these awesome stories of people that did these crazy hustles and stuff, but like, I don't think I had any, man. I don't think I had any really.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. And the fact that, as we'll get into you getting to the professional level, it's like, well, you had to put, that is a job itself to train all those years. So it's, if you weren't training for that, there's no chance you ever would have made it to that point.
I mean, that was a full-time, that was my full-time, I guess you could say my first full-time job was like playing volleyball, just, you know, just all the time. Like
spiking the ball.
Like 70 hours a week, you know, like in the
crazy.
gym, like in the weight room, just like studying film. Like that's kind of what it always
that is
was
a job.
about.
That is a job.
And it's just crazy, you know, like how fast things can change.
What would you say, for real, what would you say is, was one of the challenges that you faced as a kid, and how did you overcome it?
That's a great question. I think first thing that comes to mind is athletically, getting stereotyped as uncoordinated, doofy.
Because you're the tall guy.
The tall guy.
Man,
so like that's like really
y'all
funny.
Sleeping on Robbie. Y'all were sleeping on him.
I know, but it's funny. But like a lot of ways, I feel like adversity kind of pushed me to like be great, you know? Yeah. And I just didn't accept no for an answer. I was just like, I'm going to make this happen. Yeah. Watch me, you know? And that's kind of where my whole life has been. Is like as soon as someone says like, oh, like this is the best you can do, you know? Like, oh, complete pivot, redirect, gonna dominate again, you know? Yeah. And I think one of the biggest words that kind of always inspired me my whole life was like, I remember like I was in like 6th, 7th grade, just getting called doofy in school, you know? Just like, but it's okay.
Did you take it to heart, or you?
I didn't take it to heart, but I was just like,
I'm gonna show you guys.
No.
I'm gonna show you guys what's good.
So I just started training, like watching myself on film, like walking, moving, shooting, playing volleyball, like daily life. I started really, and then like I got really coordinated really fast, which is huge. And then I just like started doing all little man jobs, like learning to shoot a jump shot, learning to pass volleyball. It's like I'm not gonna sit in the middle of the volleyball court and just like block all day long. I'm gonna have the ball in my hand every time and show you that I'm not doofy, you know? Like that's kind of what it came down to.
I'm gonna prove these haters wrong. That's what it is. Yeah,
man. I think like I think my upbringing too was really special, and the fact that my parents were very empowering. And they like kind of always
pushed you like continue to go with the volleyball, keep pushing yourself.
It was volleyball too, but it was always like you can do whatever you put your mind to and your heart to. There's no limitations in the world. It's kind of how I was raised. And it's like, no, like you're smart enough. No, you're athletic enough. No, you can do that. No, you have willpower to do this.
Yeah. So they're always supporting you no matter which.
They're super supportive, man. It's amazing. And they kind of it's almost like they were just like, no, just like do it. You know, like study harder. You'll get a better grade.
So were they kind of pushing you when you were? This is a better question to start. Why UCLA? I know they looked at you. You were the #1 volleyball recruit for them for the 2011 season, if that's true.
Yeah, 2010.
But why UCLA? How did that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, you said you had always wanted to get to the West Coast, so I would imagine if they're reaching out to you, like, oh, here's my ticket, like,
dude, let's get to the West Coast. Man. I had a lot of opportunities out of high school. I ended up getting my junior year to go to UCLA, but
junior year, you knew junior year you were going,
which is cool, you know.
That's crazy.
I had a full offer for a full ride junior year, but I had offers from most of the country, like most of the volleyball programs in the country. And
what are the top schools for that too, by the way?
So UCLA is the winningest ever. They have the most championships of all time. Long Beach just won last year. Stanford's amazing. USC is really great. Penn State's probably the biggest West Coast.
Wow.
Sorry, biggest East Coast. Ohio State's great, like Loyola. Pepperdine.
But you went to the top dog,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, it was cool, man. It was amazing. Like, it was one of those things where you kind of grew up in a sport and you like kind of idolize those guys. You know,
Yeah.
like playing in that league, playing in Poly Pavilion, in LA. You're basically in Bel Air, living life. You know, and
Oh
like,
my God.
it was really funny. Like, I just kind of like, I'm really a big believer in my gut, and I just walked on campus the first time, and I was like,
This is me.
this is gonna happen. And then like, literally 2 days later, I was talking to coach. He's like, let's do this. And I was like, boom,
I'm
you
with
know,
this.
cancel the rest of the trips. Let's do this, you know? It was just like you know? It just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's got to be so incredible, though. I'm just thinking back when I was a junior, I had no idea where I was going, what I was doing. It's
crazy.
To know by
Yeah.
that time, going into your senior year, stress-free of just, yep, I know I'm going to UCLA. Like, this is the path that I'm going.
Dude, it was a huge blessing. It was really, really cool.
How was that shift for you going from the East Coast to the West Coast? Because you're 18 at the
Yeah.
time. You're now in Los Angeles, coming from the small town of Victor, New York.
Yep.
How eye-opening was that experience?
It was wild, man. I mean, I think you watch a lot of like production and like the Hollywood scene. You think you know what's gonna happen. You think you know the people and everyone. Like, I was just blown away by like everyone's also very welcoming in a lot of ways. I didn't know if I expected that or not. I think I definitely came in as an East Coast boy, you know, like everyone's kind of like, it was really easy to tell I was just from the East Coast, you know, like
Wearing shorts. No, you know what the giveaway is? Wearing shorts in December because it's good weather. People are like wearing their Patagonia jackets. Like, what are you doing?
Here it's like cool, you know, the same thing in East Coast when like the first day of spring comes and everyone like rocks their like shorts. And like here it's like, how long can we rock pants?
Yes.
And like not be sweating.
Yes.
It's like the opposite.
Such a different.
And I think the adjustment, a lot of the adjustment came with just like the different speed of life, you know. I think LA is just kind of really moving quickly, and there's a lot of opportunities that'll just fly right by you if you're not like grabbing them.
Yeah.
And everything happens in like the amount of the scale and like the intensity of moves that people are making are just so magnificent.
Yeah.
Compared to, I think, New York, it's much more humble place, much more upstate New York's much more humble place, much more simple. And it just really gave me a lot of power and energy, you know, and I just like embraced it, you know?
Yeah, you're around all this opportunity. So it's like, if
Yeah.
you want to make the best of it, you can. If you don't, I mean, you don't have to, but it's like there are these opportunities right there in front of you. You just have to kind of grab it.
Totally.
So then you graduate, and
Yeah.
that's when you went to Italy to do the professional.
Yeah, so at that point, like in my life, I was really just gung-ho volleyball.
And did you know when you were graduating, like, I'm going professional after this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd always thought about it as like the plan, you know. I was playing on national teams, like Olympic pipelines. Like you go to Europe, you play, you get better, you train, you come back over summer, you play on the national team, train for the Olympics, you know.
My God.
It's just like a crazy life, and it was a really eye-opening experience for me, for one, because like I got thrown into the mix of just like complete immersion in Italian culture. Like I was the only American on my team. Like
Wow.
Wild 9-10 month journey.
Why did you have to go to Europe? Because you have made a living doing it here, or is it just more?
Yeah, volleyball is an interesting sport, especially indoors. The best leagues in the world are Russia, Italy, Brazil, Poland, France, Germany.
Okay.
And the U.S. doesn't have a professional indoor league
At all.
you know. But it's like the number 2 sport in Italy.
That's so interesting.
Number like 2 sport in Russia behind basketball.
But professionally here in the U.S., is it outdoor, the beach? Is that technically professional?
Exactly, yeah.
okay.
So we have a beach circuit, which had its ups and downs. But to play indoor, you gotta go overseas, and that's a really interesting. And it's really funny. Like the Italians are like, oh, you know, like what's the deal? You guys consistently have some of the best indoor players in the world, but you have no professional league. Like, what are you guys doing over there?
Of all
I'm
places,
just
you would
like,
think the
well,
U.S.
it's a little harder to like start a professional league than you think, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially with all these major sports we have going on in the U.S.
Yeah, I know. You know, when you look at the U.S., we are like the powerhouse with all these sports. So it's like there has to be sports that we don't have, and then you learn that it's volleyball. But what's crazy, now I just remembered, do you know where volleyball started?
I don't think I do.
You don't.
No, where
It's
did it
called
start?
Holyoke, Massachusetts.
Really?
And I grew up the next city over. My
No
parents
way.
and all my family is from Holyoke, Massachusetts. And I
Get
just
outta here.
remember this. I didn't even think about this until we are now talking about it. But there was this sign because all my family was from Holyoke. Every time we'd go to my grandparents for Christmas or just to visit them, we would take the highway from Chicopee, the next city over, and it would say, "Welcome to Holyoke, the birthplace of volleyball." So it was in Holyoke,
That is
Massachusetts.
a really cool fun fact.
Holyoke, Massachusetts.
Never forget that.
You learned something today.
Dude, awesome.
What do you think the sport of volleyball taught you about life?
Wow, awesome question. I think it taught me a ton of things. For one, the most important thing it really taught me was like how to start a skill and being really bad at something and then getting better consistently every day. And just like seeing like that kind of that growth cycle of learning a new skill.
Yeah.
I think it's a really important concept to have and like to know and to be able to iterate and like consistently look back and say, how can I improve? And then apply and improve, apply and improve. And then you kind of like, it's almost, you build, you know, it's like a building process. So I think it's a great place to learn it because you're doing something repetitively over and over and over. And like, I was in my senior year, I was in the gym every morning at like 5:30, just like passing 400 balls every morning for practice, you know? And it's like, it's so simple. It's just like one step, pass, one step, pass, one step, pass. Yeah. And then by like 5 or 6 weeks later, you're just like, it's a reflex. Yeah. You're just like doing it, you know? And then you can apply it to other things. But that's really cool. And that really helped me with like business, Tenzo Tea, because when we started, we didn't know anything. Like me and my co-founder both didn't study business in college. So we just like started reading and learning and trying to figure out as fast as we possibly could as like we're starting a company and like making mistakes, like doing this, you know, like not knowing enough and trying to learn as fast as possible. Yeah.
And it's, you know, like you said, going back to when you were a kid and people kind of making fun of you as the goofy guy playing volleyball. It's like, okay, that's my starting point. Then I get professional. So I saw that if I start from zero and put in the work, I can get what I want. Totally. If I have this idea for Tenzo Tea, nobody's going to know the name of the brand. Nobody's going to have an idea why they should want to drink it. But if we stick to it, we're eventually going to we're going to get to that destination because you saw the legwork of what volleyball.
Amen. Yeah, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to like. And it's a really big step to like trust in yourself enough to know that like you can accomplish it, even though you probably can't, you know, in a lot of ways.
You have to visually believe that what you're setting out to do is
set your mind to something and just like finish the job, you know, whatever it takes.
I'm a big believer of visualization. Like I will, before podcasts, this is going to sound crazy, but I would literally just close my eyes for a minute and just visualize that podcast being the best podcast it could possibly be. So powerful. Like visualizing my man Robbie's gonna come through. He's tall as hell, but we're about to create some fire content. Just visualizing the conversation is gonna be great. Sets you up because that's like you lose that anxiousness of like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. To just this is what it's gonna be and this is how it's gonna go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Talk to me about how this came to life. I know you and Steve Hodel, that's his name, right? That's Steve. Your homie, you longtime friend. Yeah. You guys played together in volleyball. He went to UCLA as well from New York. What was the process like for you guys of having this idea to then finally having an actual product to sell? Because that, I'm sure, was a lot of legwork. And we also, if you're visually watching, we made some up right before the podcast, Tenzo Tea, this stuff. I'm going to be straight up honest. Like I told you, it tastes great. It's very simple. It's very easy. So how did this actually get in our hands today?
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, here we go. So let's dive right in. I'm playing volleyball in the AVP. Came back after Italy. I was playing professional beach in the U.S. And living in Long Beach. Steve's, I'm 2 years older than Steve, so he was finishing up his senior year. Yep. At UCLA, finishing up. He drops out. Oh, he does. 1 quarter left. No. Yeah.
Yo, his parents must have been livid.
They
1 quarter? You can't.
I love you, Katie and Dale.
Yo, Steve, shout out to you, brother. That is really just going with it.
But yeah, he kind of also is a very similar mindset where he just believes in his gut and like was willing to take risk and he knows he can do anything. So it's a really empowering person to be with and build a company with. First of all, which is awesome, you know. Yeah,
and background of like you guys know each other since kids. Like
so Steve's family got me into volleyball in the very first place.
Oh my god,
it's amazing.
This is meant to happen.
His oldest brother first convinced me to go to my first practice. But anyway, long story short.
Wow. Dots connect. Dots connect.
So I'm playing volleyball. The league is kind of like, it's up and down, you know. It's not like a very consistent stream of money. You have to win to like make a salary. It's not like a contract where like in Italy you make money every day. Yep. Every month. So I was kind of looking for other ways to like grow my work, like my living, yeah, you know, like make money. Yeah. So I'm thinking about building businesses. I love business. Steve's at UCLA studying history, just completely fed up with all the time he's wasting in the classroom. He's never been a school guy, so he was always like hilarious. Like I'd be studying like for a really intense pre-med exam, like a life science, like LS3, like
Sounds crazy to me.
microorganisms, you know. And he's just over in the library for 8 hours reading on the floor. And I'm like around like hour 6, I'm just like, dude, what are you reading, man? Oh, biography of Benjamin Franklin. Don't you have a final tomorrow? Yeah. I'll study for it in the morning. Wow. It's at 8 a.m. Like, what are you gonna do?
You need to kind of get rolling.
He would
on
just
this.
wing it. He would just go and he would learn what he needed to learn and pass his exams. And he's got to the point where he's like, dude, I mean, I can spend another 15 grand as like a final quarter, but it's not really what I want to do. It's not what I believe in.
Yeah.
And he just like cut it off and put himself against the wall and said, I'm gonna fight my way out of this.
Wow.
So it was amazing, you know. Somebody's on my couch. So we at this point have no idea what we're gonna do yet.
Okay. No ideas. Nothing.
We just start. We're like, we need to build something great, something that like positively impacts the whole world, that we can like really build an amazing brand behind. We're just like trying to figure out what do we do, you know?
Yeah.
So we just start reading, learning business, marketing, and we're just on the internet, just stumbling around. We came across Matcha. Along the same time, like we're obviously like slamming like cold brews and Red Bulls and like, you know, like
just to get
we're just like doing like 18-hour days, you know, just like all day, just like having an amazing time at the same time.
Yeah.
And we found matcha. Oh, this is great. Like, let's get some matcha, have some energy for the whole day to keep learning, to keep growing. And then we get the matcha, we start trying it. We're like, this stuff's awesome. Like, this is pretty great.
How did you find the matcha though?
So like we just actually went on Amazon the first time we got matcha and just like picked some up and just got it and just tasting it, trying it. And we really found that it was hard to get a good quality product because there's a lot of stuff on Amazon just is it's hard to say garbage. It's not good. It's
like for the matcha at least.
Yeah, exactly. Because matcha is a lot like wine, so there's a lot of like there's
levels to it.
Amazing like difference between a high grade and a really low grade. So it's like culinary all the way up to a ceremonial grade. And like the flavor, the color, the composition, the health benefits, all really they change a lot.
Yeah.
And then we started looking at the product and like we researched like the amazing history it has in Japan for the last 800 years, being centered to their culture, like the tea ceremonies, like the mindfulness background behind the product, like mental clarity, energy, focus. We're like, this is interesting, you know, like let's check this out. We started looking at the market and the Google Trends is like 20% year-over-year growth of like search volume and stuff. All these signs coming together, and we're like, well, this fits us too, you know. It's a healthy energy product. We're just like the most crazy guys in the world. We're just like, we just drink this all day long. We're just like get super hype. Just like try to lift everyone up, you know. It's like lift up everyone, lift up yourself. And so we just started rolling, man. Like,
and when was this? This was like 2016.
This is almost exactly 2 years ago today. So it's like July 2016.
This is when the ideas come into life.
Yeah, we've launched our Shopify store July 1 of 2016.
Wow. Okay.
And we didn't sell much the first couple of months because we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
But
of course.
Yeah. So I guess we had to try matcha. So we ended up just like, I went on Google and I just like hit up as many suppliers as I could find. Just, like, hitting up for quotes, reads like got all these samples. We picked the best one, found a co-packer, and just started giving it to our friends.
Just passing out like, you need to try this. You need to try this.
We did this campaign that was like free samples. Just like
genius.
Everyone online, just like we just gave everyone free samples, free shipping, free samples.
All they have to do is submit their address and who they are.
Tell us what you think, you know? So we just got like, we must have sent out like 300 different like sample packs in that first month.
How was that feedback?
Everyone loved it.
Really?
Everyone loved it. And that's when we were like, wow, this is interesting. And we like looked at the marketplace and there really was like no brands have been built behind the product. So we're like, like this is an opportunity. And then we just started rolling, man. We're just like, all right, let's just do this. And then it's expanded from there. But that's kind of like that.
And how did you get Tenzo Tea? How did that come together?
The word Tenzo is a Japanese word.
Okay.
It's one of the 6 paths to enlightenment in a Buddhist monastery. It's a chef that accepts donations from the people and provides heavenly, like basically holy meals to meditating monks so they can practice meditation without hindrance.
Amazing.
So the alliteration behind it is great. Like that was the same thing. It's literally just on Google,
and it looks clean.
Figuring it out,
everything about it, like the branding, the logo, everything looks clean about it.
Thanks, man.
So why should I'm a big coffee drinker. As I showed you, I literally have 4 Starbucks pre-made iced coffees ready to go for the week at all times. Why should somebody like me who drinks a lot of coffee switch to something like this?
Yeah, so
I feel like that's got to be the big question.
It's a loaded question. It's a loaded question. I go a lot of ways with this.
I'm ready for it.
Let's start energy. Energy-wise. Tenzo Tea will have the exact same caffeine content as a cup of coffee. It depends how much really matcha you use. You can just use any concentration you want. You can load it up. A teaspoon of matcha has about 70 milligrams of caffeine.
Okay.
Compared with a normal cup of coffee at like 90.
Oh, wow.
So you're pretty close.
Okay.
In addition, there's a very rare amino acid in green tea, and it's very, very potent in matcha due to the shade growing. We can do this later. Shade growing of matcha is a really cool process too.
Okay.
But basically, L-theanine works with caffeine to give you a long, sustained energy boost, and it prevents the crash. So, like, instead of a quick, like, espresso where you have a shot and you'll spike for, like,
you up.
10 minutes. You feel great for the next 10 minutes, and then you just start coming down.
Yeah,
Where's my espresso again?
Yeah, it's the worst feeling in the world.
And then you get the crash, you get the jitters, the headache.
Yeah.
With matcha, it's just, like, really clean. You won't feel, like, that, like, rocket boost when you first drink it, but it comes on smoother, it lifts you up, and then it just lets you slowly back down to earth.
So it's not like one of those quick adrenaline rushes where you're just like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Exactly, but it gets you to a spot, like what we've really found is just like it really provides a lot of focus in that way. It's like one of the big things we want to try to focus on in the future is the word focus, because I feel like that's something that everyone needs and everyone wants, but Tenzo Tea will give you like that.
Especially in the world we live in today, I try to even get better too. It's like I'll put my phone down. I kind of just like try to stay away because it's easy to just pick up the phone and scroll on Instagram or get distracted, and then even just 3 minutes of looking at your phone could set you back 15 minutes. So it's like if a drink helps you and helps you focus, it's like, why not?
It's huge, man. And I think the energy it's honestly like an uncomparable energy boost anything I've ever felt. It's way better. It's also sugar free, 0 calories. The health benefits are like the next real thing. Like why matcha is amazing. Matcha has the highest antioxidant content of any major superfood per gram.
Okay.
Like
what does that antioxidant? I always hear that word, but I have no idea what that does for people.
Okay, great. So antioxidants, I'll go back. I'm gonna go super science.
Yeah, I got you.
Which is good. Cool. Okay.
See, where's that? You loved the science growing up,
so
right?
I always dug in and found all these research papers. So antioxidants eliminate free radicals from the body.
Okay.
A free radical is anything that comes into your system. It has the ability to affect and like react with your body and like damage your cells.
Okay.
And that can be caused from pollution, from like carcinogens are like free radicals that can hurt you. Like in daily life, you naturally will become exposed to free radicals. Okay. It's like you can't avoid them.
There's nothing to avoid it.
But what antioxidants do is an antioxidant. So it eliminates those oxidized molecules, eliminates the free radicals.
Okay.
So that has a lot of different health benefits across your whole body. So for example, one of the first ones is it's amazing for your health and for your cholesterol. It's really good
to decrease it.
Yeah, it's really good for your brain. Like it actually is like green tea. It's a lot of studies that like prevents Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Like really keeps you clean. It keeps your brain working properly.
Yeah.
Keeps you functioning straight. It's really good. Also, the same antioxidant. This is I'm still trying to dig into this, but it boosts your metabolism, which is really interesting. They found that like green tea in the Japanese like population, they're very fit and very lean culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because like this one special antioxidant, EGCG.
EGCG.
Okay. Really long name. Won't say it, so I'll probably mess it up. But it boosts your metabolism. It also has antibacterial, antiviral properties, so it keeps you healthy.
Oh my God.
And that's a really funny thing to compare this with coffee, because like,
does coffee have even any of what you just said?
Coffee has like very trace amounts of antioxidants, but when you roast coffee beans, you destroy most of it.
And then when you start throwing in the creamer,
actually they just classified coffee as like you have to have like in California. You really just there's an article came out. They have to put cancer warnings on all coffee shops now because the roasting process creates carcinogens.
Wow.
But it's not crazy. You know, anything. If you toast bread in a toaster, it's gonna make carcinogens.
Yeah, but the fact that they're even connecting it, that it's enough that we now have to start putting signs that warn you like this.
It's a really interesting time in that sense. Other crazy thing too. This is a really fun article I read the other day. Really deep science paper, but bad breath is caused by like volatile sulfur compounds, VSCs, in your mouth, which occur when a pocket of bacteria forms. And then that bacteria releases sulfur, and then you have like bad breath. Coffee will help those colonies grow in your mouth. Like it actually like enhances those bacterial colonies, which is why coffee breath exists. Green tea and matcha eliminates those bacterial colonies that can't grow.
Yes.
So like it actually cleans your teeth. It's great for oral hygiene. It's like really good for your mouth.
You really don't lose drinking this stuff, honestly. It doesn't sound like it.
That's
I know it's your product, so you have to say yes. Like, obviously he's gonna say yes, but it sounds like it's packed with just a lot of things that are positively gonna help people get through their
it's
day.
amazing,
and it's
man.
gonna just
It's
rejuvenate
amazing.
your body.
Like we've had even Steve's dad. Like Steve's dad, he's been drinking one of these a day, like actually 2 of these a day for the last like 4 months, and he's lost like 50 pounds.
Okay, so I mean,
He's working out. He gets him off the couch. He's like
Yeah.
going. His metabolism's boosted. He's
Yeah.
rolling. You know, like the amount of effects. And hardest part for us, honestly, been like, what's the messaging?
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you all that in one piece of marketing.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah, because I couldn't even recite half the things you
Yeah.
just told me. It just sounds like the craziest
Yeah.
things, but it makes sense that it can benefit you so much. But then it comes down to how are we going to package this of getting people to want to drink it,
Sure.
to target the entrepreneurs, to target the hustlers, the people that are
Exactly.
go-getters. Like, how do we get it into their hands? Because that's what this sounds like. It sounds like the young entrepreneurs of today that are out grinding. And the fact that I could throw this in my backpack
Yeah.
and just anywhere get some water and throw it in and mix it, that's, I think, the huge selling point.
Totally.
This is portable. I
Yeah.
can't just walk around with a cup of coffee. I mean, once that coffee's gone, it's gone. But if I
Mm-hmm.
can carry around a pack of tea that all I need is cold water at any point in time, I mean, that's
Mix it
huge.
hot, mix it cold.
Yeah, that's-
it's like the other thing too. It's super lightweight. You know,
Yeah.
it's non-perishable.
Yeah.
Won't go bad.
Yeah.
It's like
That's a win-win.
And that's the craziest part. Was like we first found Matcha. We're looking into all these like benefits and all these. We're like, is this real?
Yeah.
You know,
This is all
And,
making too much good sense.
too much sense. I started like digging into like actual like scientific journals and like
Yeah.
reading the studies. I was like, yeah, this is pretty real.
Yeah.
This is some real stuff.
So it's easy to get, or not easy, but you send out those 300 packets, you get feedback from people, they're enjoying it, you have family, friends, people like me that are trying it. How do you get people to see the value to want to sell it at their shop or to actually hand over their hard-earned money? Because when you're offering
Yeah.
free, it's like, all right, I mean,
Yeah.
I have nothing to lose, but I think when you start asking people for their actual money, their hard-earned money, it doesn't matter how much it costs, it's just that transaction. So how have you guys been able to show enough value to get people to want to buy into it?
Yeah, I think it's really been a building process. We started in Long Beach, and we had we still have an amazing friend circle community
Yeah.
in Long Beach that's super supportive of our mission. We ended up coincidentally starting our business about a stone throw away from one of the highest volume shops in all of LA. It's called Portfolio Coffee House.
Amazing.
And as we were building Tenzo Tea, we were there every morning from 5 a.m. till about 7 at night because we had no place to work. They had
Yep.
good tables, great Wi-Fi, and we just literally learned we just met everyone there. So we just knew them like they're our family, more or less.
Yeah.
About like 4 months in, we sold a little bit online. We're like, we need to start pushing into coffee shops. There's a huge opportunity here. We get a meeting with that owner. Her name's Caston. She's an amazing lady, does great things in Long Beach. And we sit down, like, I'm in charge of making the matcha. Steve's got the numbers. We're talking to this woman, and she's like really powerful and really intimidating.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what we're doing yet. We're just like talking to her, and she's been to Japan before. We haven't. Like all these things,
man.
you know? Like, and she's just like, no. But I'll start you in my second shop called Berlin down the street. We'll test you there, see what happens.
Okay.
So that was a huge opportunity.
Huge opportunity.
Huge opportunity. And like we had to go over there, train all the employees how to make a whisk a matcha properly, how to make a latte. And at this time too, like we don't have any barista experience. Like we don't know how to even like pour an espresso shot or pull an espresso shot.
Yeah.
So we're learning as we're going. We're figuring out on the fly, like figuring out how to handle tax and how to handle like invoicing and billing and like all these things at the same time. And it went really well at Berlin.
Yeah.
And then from there, we used Berlin and like, we're in Berlin. We got like another 3 shops in Long Beach.
Use that. So leverage that. Like
Hey,
we're in one shop. Hey, we're in this shop
We're
here.
local. We're
Yeah.
just started.
Yeah.
We're in our shop. They're
Yep.
doing amazing. They're selling a ton of Tenzo Tea. You guys got to hop on board. This is the train. It's rolling, you know?
Yeah.
We got 3 more. And then we
Yeah.
got 3 more. And then sooner or later, we're at like 10 shops.
Oh, wow.
And we go back to casting that portfolio. We're like, let's go here. You know, like it's time to make moves. And by this time, everyone, like all their local customers, they have really, really like loyal customers at portfolio. Like every morning the same people are there. So Steve and I know everyone.
Everybody.
Every single person. So like literally, I think it was like 8 or 9 months after we first pitched to portfolio, they finally opened the doors.
So you were relentless about it.
Relentless.
Yeah.
Just
And once you get,
have to be.
Once you get other shops that are co-signing
Yeah.
it, it's like I mean, now we're in 10 shops. Now we're in 15. Like I know in the beginning we were trying to pitch you, but we have other people that are now putting this product in
working.
the stores.
It's great. It's selling, you know?
Yeah.
And then it was honestly like, it was the most amazing experience ever to see that first day in portfolio when everyone knew.
Man.
And all the cups were green.
Oh, man.
Almost like, I'd say like 7 out of 10 cups that are sold were Tenzo Tea.
Yeah.
And they probably did like 200 cups on the first, like every day the first week.
Yeah.
Just crushing kilos of green tea.
How many stores are you guys in today?
Almost 160.
160.
Yeah.
My man, that's amazing, bro.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a wild ride.
Congrats. And now, is that LA based? Is that kind of spread out a little bit of the country? Like, where are you at right now in the store?
Yeah, so one of our main focus has been really just like win Los Angeles and kind of be the name.
I mean, this is huge. Everybody's about the green tea. Everybody's about health conscious.
And it's like one of the cool things too I learned from the East Coast. I feel like Los Angeles is about 2 years ahead, and they set the trends.
Yes.
Like I'll never forget one like specific example. Ray-Ban sunglasses. I came to UCLA 2010. They're huge. Everyone has them.
Yep.
Go home 2010 summer. Come back to school 2011. Ray-Bans are still sick. Go back home. Like there's literally no Ray-Bans in 2010 in New York. And then 2011 summer. Boom, everyone has them, you know? So that's just kind of how it goes.
I got my all black ones. I think that's literally 2011 was the year I got them.
Dude, it's
that's
crazy how that works, you know? Like, and it's really cool to be able to build something special in like the cultural epicenter of the world. Because if you can accomplish it here and you can really build a brand and build like a market, then you can just go like,
and just 160, man. That's that's such an amazing number.
And I think we have an amazing team. Like our first hire, his name's Brody Cord. This guy, Brody Cord, Brody Cord, C-O-R-D, Cord.
Gotcha.
He's a great guy. He's a killer salesman, man. This guy, like, he is your best friend and your first half time meeting him. He just a really value-driven, great guy. And he's always for the good of the people, like, just helping, being of value. And he just knocks on doors, man. He just is everywhere. At this point, he knows, like, every coffee shop in the city.
I bet.
Like, he has it all locked down. We're just closing. He's been doing, like, 20 to 25 shops a month at this point. Oh, he's just like gaining steam.
He's cruising.
You know?
I'm sure once he gets to the rhythm of knowing how to like what works, what doesn't, now it ends up being like, okay, now I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, he came on board. We had like 25, probably like 35, 40 shops, and he's brought us to like with Steve. We've all been apart, but Brody's been leading the force there, like really closing deals.
How did it feel to bring on that first person to a team? Because I feel like that's got to be.
It was.
I mean,
huge,
not only
man.
getting into the stores, but to be able to be like, yeah, we're actually hiring. We need somebody to do this. Like, that's got to be.
It was crazy, and it was really special too because in a lot of senses, like it was cool to see someone that really believed in our mission.
Yeah.
Because it really didn't exist at all at that point.
Yeah.
We were in a small 2-bedroom apartment in Long Beach with like tea stacked to the ceilings and boxes everywhere.
Still just an idea.
Still an idea, grinding out. And like we knew we needed to hire a great leader to like really grow our wholesale and like grow our team and really build our brand. And we took like over 100 applications, met all these people, or talking and trying to figure out how to do. And then,
that's a whole process too.
Dude,
it's just steering you away from actually selling and doing and building the brand.
That's a huge balance. You know, it's a huge part of everything. But you know, you need resource, you need manpower. Yeah. And we got introduced through Brody through a friend of a friend, like basically one of our good friends from New York. He went to play volleyball in Rochester, and we came out here. So it was perfect. You know? He's also like 6'4", 6'5", like so we have this towering team.
Yeah, it's like I would be intimidated if I saw you guys walking down the street. You
Dude,
know what I mean?
Unbelievable. And by it was so funny. By like January of like a year ago, January in Long Beach, we're just like, oh, the Matcha men are here. We just towered. Everyone just knew the tall guys were the Matcha men. It was awesome. But I forgot where I was going with that.
Like team, like bring him on.
Yeah. We started growing, man. And it was really, really cool to see. And like Steve and I had this crazy mission, you know, like in our heads it made sense, but everyone else was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I like spending half my day instead of playing volleyball trying to sell green tea.
Yeah.
Like what are you
doing? Yeah.
And then Brody came on board, and he had previously like sold a ton of he worked at H&E selling construction equipment.
Okay.
And he dominated. It was like rookie of the year, his first year, sold the most. His entire firm.
He knows what he's doing.
He's a quality guy. And he kind of came in and like believed in our mission. And it was like, wow, I was drinking a cold brew, 2 cold brews a day before I met you guys. Now I drink Tenzo Tea. I want to do this. And we're like, wow, like this is real, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of validation too is really important. I think just for like the longevity of a brand and a business, because
Yeah.
you need support, you know, like it's hard to do something by yourself. I think having even Steve as a co-founder is a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Because going solo at something is a much different game.
Yeah.
You can't share any of the burden. You can't ask for feedback. No one really knows what's going on.
Yeah, you need a team around you.
Dude, a team
Like,
is so important.
And I'm sure that connects back to even the volleyball days. Like you need a team of people to get to that end result of winning. It's the same thing with business. It's like you can only do so much by yourself, and you are literally just hurting yourself by not bringing on people that add value. That you might be weak at doing one thing, but they're strong at doing that. It's like, we'll bring this person in.
Yeah,
and
I
have them
think
do it
that's
for
a
us.
great point you say too. You brought up, like, I think when we started our business, we kind of really made a point to eliminate all our egos. You know,
Yeah.
like we started with very humble roots. We don't know what we're doing, but we're
Yeah.
gonna learn as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And anyone that knows more than we do will greatly accept feedback, criticism,
Yeah.
like learn how to be better. Like tell
Yeah.
me if I suck, because I'll get better at it. Like it's
Yeah.
not like we always kind of started with that mentality of like feedback is a breakfast of champions. You know, you got to have feedback.
100%.
You got to dive in. You
Yeah.
got to be ready to say like, it sucks when someone tells you like, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut
Nobody
it.
wants to hear it.
But at the same time, if you're able to look at that and say like, wow, this is what I need to become a better person and to grow as an individual,
Yeah.
it's like a really positive thing. So I think that's kind of the culture we try to build, is just like really just like humble, but just like ruthlessly looking for.
And that's going to help you guys in the long play, because
Yeah.
people, customers, whether it's podcasts, whatever, people are going to see that, and that's what I think is going to pull them to want to stay even longer, because not only is it going to be a great product for them, but it's also like, these are well-rounded guys. These are genuine guys. These are people that I want to support. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you could sell the best product in the world, but if the face of the brand, if the people behind it are shit, honestly, it's like, I'm not going to give my money to those people anymore, because
Totally.
I don't support who they are. What do you think separates you guys from taking this to the masses, honestly? Like, is there something you think needs to happen? I mean, clearly you're growing, so it's always going to be the patience process, but
Right.
what do you think really would help take this to the next level?
I think a lot of our initial, we're obviously consistently working on this, but it's our messaging and it's information flow, because just like you today, I just don't know why.
Yeah.
Don't know why you should have a part of your life, and it's honestly our biggest blessing and our hardest point, that people don't know what matcha is in the U.S. for the most part.
Yeah.
LA is a very special place. It's
Yeah.
like pretty new, and everyone's kind of caught up.
They're
with
kind
like,
of catching. Yeah,
everyone
they
like
kinda-
is
LA's
really
with it. They're with it out here.
early adopters, you'd say.
Yeah.
LA is a whole city of early adopters. So
Yep.
like the rest of the country and the masses have never heard of matcha. So it's a really battle about like building the market along with capturing the market at the same time. So being out in front, having Tenzo Tea be the premium matcha brand in the US as you teach and like fill it out, you know?
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's a
Yeah.
crazy game.
Because it's an open market. You're not
Totally
like
open
competing
market.
against everybody else.
And it's so fun to have all these homies who they sell socks, they sell T-shirts, they sell like watches, they sell all these e-commerce brands, and they just like everyone knows how to use a watch.
Yeah.
You just gotta make it look cool.
Yeah, you gotta
You
throw
gotta put
on.
it in front of somebody,
Yeah.
and they're probably gonna buy it. You
Yeah.
know. But like with this, it's like what?
Yeah.
Like you have to start like the funnel is much longer. You gotta
Yeah.
like talk about it.
Because
Like,
this is consumption.
you have to taste
I have to
it.
put this in my body. Like, it's not
Yes.
like I'm just buying a product and that's that. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know what this is. I'm not just going to buy something and drink it. I mean, there's got to be, you got
Yeah.
to show people, like, the value of why this is, like, health benefiting them.
And I think too, like once we really nail, I don't think we've done this properly yet. We're still working on it. Like currently, it's one of our biggest things we're working on right now. But I think once we do nail down that major value prop and that information flow, online subscribers are going to be huge for us.
Yeah.
Someone that drinks monthly
Yeah.
and keeps re-upping and never
Yeah.
stops, you know, like
huge.
you get a couple thousand subscribers, you have an entire platform to actually grow
Yeah.
and scale a business.
Yeah. And then
So-
you see that's going to come in, so it helps you guys with business-wise of, like, what's our money looking like? Where can we
it's
invest
so
in?
predictable. That's like going to be a huge asset. So we're starting to focus on that right now. So subscribe
now.
grab a Tenzo Tea bag.
Right now. Do it.
Yeah, exactly.
What have you learned about yourself through this process of getting you? I mean, 2 years in, pretty much
Yeah.
now. That's a long time. I'm about to be at 2 years with the podcast in August.
Yeah.
I mean, the person that I was when I started to who I am today, unbelievably different for the right reasons. What have you learned about yourself?
I've learned a ton, man. I think doing something this kind of ridiculous and kind of outlandish to a
Yeah.
lot of people it pulls you out of your comfort zone. Like you
Yeah.
have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You got to do things you never thought you would ever do. I think it consistently, like I look back over 2 years, like I remember like Steve always quotes this. He's like, dude, remember that one time when we were sitting in the living room in Long Beach? You're like, I will never learn how to code. Like I don't need to learn how to code a website. That's ridiculous. Like no way. And I'm like proficient front-end web developer, you know? Like one of those things where a lot of those times when like you start something and like you have all these predetermined things in your head of like who I am and what I can be. Yeah. And then like when you build something bigger in yourself, you're consistently just filling gaps in what you need to accomplish. Yeah. And it kind of makes you really, I think I've grown a ton as a person. Like I've become way more out and open and ready to talk and meet people and like network and grow. And like, it's also,
you're always on a swivel. You're always ready to like, you're on point.
And I think too, when you start something that doesn't exist, you have to be like the rock. A lot of what you do, like you have to just be the support beam for the entire thing. And that's a lot of pressure, you know, like, I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way in a lot of senses.
You know what, man? Even when I was prepping for this podcast, I'm just sitting there like, I realized through this process of almost 2 years, how hard it is to get somebody to just click play on a podcast on whether it's on Spotify, YouTube. Like all I'm trying to do is you see enough value in what I create and just hit play. That's all I'm asking. And just listen. Not only are you doing that, check out our brand. You're then saying, if you really like this, please support us because you need money. Like you're selling a product. I'm just putting out content for free. So when I see people like yourself who are, I can't even imagine because I see how much work it is to just create this content and do the research and bring people in and do all that fun stuff and then put it out and just try to get plays that are free. Right. You're doing the same thing, but you're like, we have a product to sell. Like we would like your money, like respectfully. Yeah. So it's like, my hat is off to you and any entrepreneurs that are out there that are doing creating a business or a service that costs people money. Totally. Because at the end of the day, I think it is so hard. Whether it's $5 a month, $10, it doesn't matter. It's like you have to show enough value. It's interesting,
that's the thing though. It's like, can you package up the value and give it to somebody? And like, I think it's always a learning process, and everyone always you improve over the lifetime of what you do. You know? And I think it's a really interesting concept. I think it's a lot about driving traffic, and then you're just like testing, iterating, like learning, growing, and like you get better, man. It's the same concept of just improving at a skill. You start to see like, like when do people drop off? Like when do I lose people? How do I keep them around? Do I throw a pop-up window? Do I drive traffic this way? Do I like offer a sale? You know, like you gotta like get a customer, generate. The biggest thing for us is like generating trials. Probably the same for you. It's like people watch your podcast and they like it. Like, I want to come back again. Yeah. But how do you generate the first trial? Yeah. It's a question, Like how do you?
It's not easy. That's what it comes down to. It's not easy, but it's also like a fun process to be part of because of just the world we live in today, where it's like I can run a full production in my bedroom where 20 years ago there's no way I was doing this. I had to.
Dude, it's awesome.
I had to buy my way into it. You know what I mean? So it's a great time to be, I guess, an entrepreneur in the world we're living in today. And off that, I would say, what would be your best piece of advice for the entrepreneurs in 2018 right now that are out hustling, grinding? Maybe they're listening right now. They have their own business. They're trying to get something rolling. What is your best piece of advice?
Yeah, I think best piece of advice, I'd say like when you're starting something, make sure it has roots. Make sure like it can be built. Yeah. Make sure you're not like when we started Tenzo, we were looking at a lot of things we could possibly do, like make a mobile phone app or make like something simple, like a one-off kind of gimmick, or like you want something that's like really has strong roots that you can build on. Yeah. And once you find that, just never stop. Yeah. Whatever you do, don't stop. Like I think I forget who said this, but like the most common killer of businesses and entrepreneurs is not like bad things happening and tragedy, it's just giving up. Yeah. People just get to a point and they just stop. Yeah. And I was at a Y Combinator, a big lecture up in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And this one girl came on stage. She talked about, she called it the trough of sorrow. That's a really interesting concept to me. So she described it as, you start a business, everything seems going great. Like, initial traction, my friends and family are on board. Everyone kind of loves this. Look at this hype I'm building. Yeah. And then it turns. Yeah. And you enter the trough of sorrow. Yes. And the trough of sorrow can never end.
That's where it makes you breaks you.
It makes or breaks you. Yes. You have to battle the trough of sorrow all the way through. It might last 1 week. It might last 2 years. It might last 10 years. Yeah. But eventually, you're going to pick up out of the trough and you're going to grow your business. Yes. You know? Yes. But it's a really interesting concept. But I think that's like the piece of advice is when when the going gets tough, you got to get going. You know,
Yeah.
you got to just like put your head down and like stay really true to what you believe in.
Yeah.
And just see it to its finish. You just can't. It's just like I mean, I think I give a lot of props to Steve too, because I've never seen someone so die-hearted in belief of something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a funny concept,
Yeah.
but you have to just be like so passionate and just
Yes.
so resolute in your decision to go that you're never gonna. There's no way. You have to kill me to stop me.
Yeah, and I think the key is you have to treat what you're doing as if you're already at that point where everybody is paying and wants to be part of your project. Because back to the visualization, what's kept me going for so long is like I visioned what I wanted this to become. I knew kind of the long play of like all the different types of people I wanted to get on. So it was like, I know where I'm headed.
Yeah.
Now I just have to keep going, and I have to make sure that any point of contact I have with one person, two people, they need to have a conversation with me and realize like, man, this guy's serious about what he does. It doesn't even matter about the numbers of plays. It doesn't matter how many of these bags you guys are selling. It's like they are passionate about this and they are driven, and there's no option B. Like they are just gonna find a way to get through it.
That's what it takes, man.
Yeah.
That's where you build like people believe in you. You
Yeah.
know, like, and I think if you don't believe in yourself, no one's gonna believe in you. First and foremost,
Yeah.
you know, like
you gotta really feel
if
yourself.
if you don't like show that, like you're saying on every touch point.
Yeah.
Like if you ever show any signs of wavering, people pick up on it.
yeah,
They're like,
and he doesn't even believe in himself. Why should I believe
this
in
isn't
him?
real.
Yeah.
This is a fun little like it's a fluke. You know,
Yeah.
it's not gonna go
Yeah,
anywhere.
we'll see you in a couple.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a couple months.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, with your next business, bro. Aside from your height, because that's
Yeah.
an easy out. What's one thing you'd want to change about yourself? And maybe you wouldn't even want to change the height. But
No.
if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Yeah, man. I think it's something I'm actually working on right now.
Okay.
I'm always kind of under belief where like if I ever find a problem, I'm gonna change it. You know, like that's kind of how I work. You know,
Yeah, it's a good way to live
this is
your
what I'm
life.
currently working on is like having. It's like a really interesting like voice you have when you're selling something in person or talking or pitching an idea or trying to close someone. Like to have the ability to just ask and wait.
Yeah. Not try to try to keep going.
Yeah,
While
and
let
it's
it
like
pause.
it's the same resoluteness in like what you're trying to accomplish. But I feel like a lot of what I was like kind of brought up in like a very humble, like mellow family, academics. No one really is a business person.
Yeah.
No one really like. So my parents didn't sell anything in particular. They're
Yeah.
always kind of like researching, growing,
Yep.
learning, studying.
Yep.
So I think like Brody's, I look at him a lot, and he's a complete opposite. His dad's like a corporate level executive of like a super sweet company.
Yep.
And he has the ability to just ask, and like even at Chipotle, he'll just be like,
I know.
"Hey, you want to? Can I get those chips and guac for free?"
Yeah.
And if you do that more in your life, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's amazing what
Yeah.
you can accomplish because like people are just kind of taken aback. There's like
Did he really just ask for free
yeah.
chips and
and
salsa?
it's really uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
like a really uncomfortable thing. I'm not saying like I need to ask for discounts, but that's the best place you can like really feel that feeling.
Yeah.
Is like going up to register when you don't deserve anything and saying, "Hey, can I have 10% off?"
Yeah. Push yourself to the edge almost.
You know, and then when you go into a business conversation, it becomes way more comfortable because then
Yeah.
you're just like, no, I need a lower price. Like, can I get? We're out in Japan. We're negotiating with our supplier. We're sitting at this table, just like two young businessmen, and this like really $100 million guy. You know, like we need this price.
Yeah.
Just like don't say anything.
Don't
Don't
say
say
anything.
anything.
Yeah,
be
yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
Be strong. You know, and that's like not natural for me. You know,
Yeah.
that's something I'm trying to work on.
Negotiation is never easy. And sometimes
Yeah.
I think it's like you have to be so confident, even though in your mind you're like, oh my God, this person needs to say yes to what I'm doing. It's
Yeah.
like, yep, that's my offer, and then walk out the door if
Yeah.
they don't like it. And
It's
like
really
the same,
uncomfortable.
I know
It's so uncomfortable,
I
you know?
But it's the game.
It has to happen.
Unfortunately, it's the game
Has
you
to
have to
happen.
kind of play. But at least you know what? I think sometimes the hardest part is just recognizing on something that you need to work on yourself, because we
Yeah.
all have stuff I need to work on. You might need to work on. But recognizing it is half the battle. So then it's like, okay, now I'm gonna make these like small little steps to get better.
Yeah.
And the benefit is that you're surrounded by two people that are maybe just a little bit stronger at that.
Way better than me. At
So
it,
then
you
there
know,
you go.
that's
It's like,
exactly.
we're gonna spend an hour tomorrow. We're gonna fire up some tea.
Yeah.
And you're gonna teach me how to do this the right
Dude,
way.
exactly. Just watching and learning. I think like the bigger point there too is like never looking at something as unfixable. You know.
Yes.
I don't think like anything actually physical is like it's just you know.
Yeah.
You can't ever think about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like my height, like you brought it up too. It's a funny one, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of times I wish I could fit in a crowd, but more often than not, it's very beneficial if you use it the right way.
Yes.
But a lot of like interpersonal skills, like your education, your knowledge, all of that is just so buildable. I always hate to hear when people are like, "Oh, I wish I was better at this."
Yeah.
Like, why did you start? Just go for it, man. You'll get
that's
better.
What it is, right? Like, there's nothing holding you back if it's not physical or anything like that. It's like, you know, people complain about their weight or they're not being healthy. It's like, okay, well, look in the mirror, tell yourself today's the day, and start. Don't wait till next month. Don't wait till next year. Let's get to it today.
Yeah. What
is holding you back?
What are you doing?
Leave the excuses at your door because I don't want to hear them.
I think it's the same thing too. I mean, you meet a lot of people, entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Well, entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I know.
You know, they're but like it's cool. Like I always talk to them. They're like, "Oh, what's your idea? It's a great idea.
Yeah.
What's your plan?"
Yeah.
Oh, I'm waiting on this. I'm gonna do this. I need to do this first.
Yep.
Just if you stop everything, you'll find a way.
Yeah. Just execute. Don't stop making excuses and find a way.
Yeah, totally, man.
You know, I could give you $1 million idea, but if you don't execute on it,
that's the hard part. That's where the $1 million is worth. You know, like
truthfully, that's where the real money's at.
Yeah.
What scares you the most?
Oh man. I feel like just not being good enough. Not being my best self.
Yep.
Not like living up to my potential. I feel like a lot of my entire life has been like, you are this tall, you are this person, you should be doing this.
Yeah.
And that's a really weird place to put you and to be in.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've constantly battled my whole life to just I kind of put myself in those situations too. First of all, like I like it. It's motivating, but I feel like that's kind of what keeps me going. Is just like knowing I have the potential to like change the world. Yeah. And like falling short would just be like
the worst thing ever.
The worst thing ever, you know? Because like I think there's just so few people that really have a chance to make a large impact on the whole world. Yeah. I mean, not everyone has the opportunity because you have to put yourself in the right place.
The other tough part sometimes is some people don't really care to have that type of impact. Which is respectful, but
but it just depends what you want to do, you know? Yeah. And like I've kind of always been the spot where like I feel like I was born here with a purpose, you know, to like change the world. Yep. And it's always like, what if you don't? Yeah. You know, that's what's just like.
Let's get to it.
That keeps you rolling. That's why I'm gonna head back and do a late night office night, you know, because like that's what you got to do. Yeah. Just keep grinding through.
Yeah. You know what? My thing is too, because I struggle with that sometimes. Is I post a lot on Instagram. I'm always like, I'm gonna be the best. You know, it's not even like to flex. It's not even to brag. It's just me kind of reminding myself of what I could potentially become if I just visualize. I think this is the third time, but it's like I visualize myself being the best podcaster and being the best. So it's like I will become the best.
Visualization is so powerful.
You have to just believe it and know that there's no other option B and just kind of keep doing it. But it is a struggle. I think that entrepreneurs or people like us or who are striving to do so much, you're always gonna have that mental chatter in your head of like, am I good enough to do this? Am I not? But I think the real victory is you actually are already taking the step. You already have a team made. Like, there's going to be somebody out there that might hear this that literally has been sitting on a tea idea for 2 years, and now they're like, wow, this dude Robbie has been doing it for 2 years. Maybe I should start this idea. So I always believe that it's like, as long as you start the process of whatever you're trying to do and you're making little baby steps forward every day, it's like there's no way to lose. There is no way to lose.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to, man. Like I think it's really about having like a great, like your idea. It's a great idea. Like provides a ton of value to the world. It's really like, it doesn't have any like crazy like selfish beliefs behind it. It's really just for the people, you know? Yeah. And those kind of ideas, if you just package them properly and work really hard at them.
Yeah. And give it time.
They work, patience.
Yes. Ooh. Patience with a capital P. Woo! If I had to change the purpose in the youth, it'd be patience in the youth. Because we all need to learn to be patient.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like the lack of immediate gratification.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I know.
You got to fight through it. And everyone just like, what are you doing? You got to be like, I know it's going to work. I'm visualizing it, man.
Give me time.
I think your point, though, visualization is so powerful. Yeah. Did a lot in athletics. Like one of our coaches, Andrea Becker, was an amazing like sports psychologist, and we would do it every day meditate before practice.
Wow, that's amazing. They even had you meditating before practice.
Before practice, we would sit there and like even to go like back sciencey, like the mirror. You ever heard of mirror neurons in your brain?
No.
So this is really cool. So there's
I've learned so much in this podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is like gems are being dropped.
Some knowledge,
Robbie coming in dropping gems.
So in your brain, you have your primary motor cortex, secondary motor cortex, and part of your motor cortex they're called mirror neurons.
Okay.
So they fire in a lot of instances when you're not actually performing physical activity. So when, for instance, I watch you drink that bottle, my brain's firing that same thing as you drink it.
Huh.
And that teaches me and builds pathways to complete the action in the future.
Without even knowing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So like, if, for example, if you were to watch someone play a song on the piano 100 times,
You're going to learn it.
you're gonna sit down the first time and be pretty close to knowing how to do it.
Okay.
And that's the same thing. You can do that. You can literally meditate and activate your motor cortex in your brain. And all your entire body just through visualization. So you can walk yourself through
That process.
a day. You can walk yourself through a whole day or an entire podcast or an entire see yourself in the future, what you do, what you say, how you're going to do it. And you'll actually build neurological pathways to accomplish that. And you'll be more fit to be that person. So the easiest way is athletics because, I mean, you can, for example, when you're injured, you can sit there and countless athletes do this. And you visualize over and over, and you come back from a 3-month injury, and you're better. You're actually physically better than when you left because you've been training your brain to do an action over and over again. And it's really powerful, man. It's real. The biggest thing is not just it might be helping me. It's no,
actually is helping.
It actually is changing your brain. It is changing how you think, how you act, how your muscles fire.
Yeah. I'm a big believer.
It's huge,
and
man.
You just dropped the science. You just dropped the science.
Look into
of it.
mirror neurons though. There's a lot of cool studies with they did it on macaques and monkeys, and they actually measured and recorded from the mirror neurons as they're firing and as they're performing actions.
Just training and looking to see if this is actually following through with them.
Yeah,
That's
real.
amazing.
It's cool, man.
What's your day-to-day routines look like? What are necessary? What do you have to do every day?
I mean, I start every morning with Tenzo Tea.
Of course.
Yeah.
Get your Tenzo Tea.
I really like to read every morning.
Okay.
I try and do at least 30 minutes a day.
Every morning. That's
Every
the
morning.
first thing you're doing.
I think it's a great way to wake up, activate the brain.
Okay.
I think it's also really interesting too, when you get really down a deep pipeline of something you're passionate about, you kind of you lose sight of other stuff, you know, and you kind of get too caught in a way of thinking. So I try to read really crazy books.
Oh, so stuff that's not even related to tea or anything. Oh, so this is just keeping your mind kind of moving.
Just moving, enlightening, kind of. I could probably name a couple cool books. One I read was called *Sapiens*, really great book about the evolution of mankind and kind of psychologically why we do what we do. It's really a great book. But that kind of makes you think and take a different perspective on the current situations. That's huge. Besides that, man, I just kind of get to it. You know, a lot of work. I try to one-on-one meetings with our entire team as often as possible. Just tackling the hardest problems first in the day.
Yeah.
I think that's really important too, is when your brain is fresh, doing the thing that you really don't want to do.
Yeah. Depends on which way you look at it. Either, because I schedule these early in the morning too, because I like getting to it instead of doing this at 6, 7 o'clock at night, because there's been so much.
Well,
of
that's
the day.
the other way to look at it. You
know
want
what
to
I mean?
do it.
This is my favorite part of the day, but I like having it towards the morning.
Yeah,
so.
I think I read a really cool book too called The Art of War. The War of Art.
Okay.
Other way around. I read both of them, but. The War of Art talks a lot about resistance, and it's a really interesting concept of resistance in the brain, in the body, and life. And whenever you feel resistance, it's a very good indicator of your true north, exactly what you need to do is where you feel the most resistance. If you see a really pretty girl and you want to go talk to her, but you're like, damn, this is gonna be crazy, you know? That resistance holds you back, but you know if you feel it, you have to do it. You know, it's what you're meant to do. Yeah. Same thing when you're working on a project or working on brand messaging or building an email or whatever I'm doing in the day. It's it's gonna be a project, you know. You feel the resistance. It's okay, prioritize first in my day. Put it up there, get it out of the way, and then work on kind of the more simpler task as you finish your day out.
Because it also eases your way out of the day too. So now 7, 8 o'clock at night trying to pound out
it's not the time to do
issues.
It's not the time to do something really important.
Yeah, I'm always curious to hear people's routines, because I don't think there's ever a specific one that works best for people. I think it just comes down to the person, because I've tried it all. I've done the wake up and read for 30 minutes. I've done the wake up and write for 30 minutes. I've done the wake up and go to the gym. I've done wake up and just start working. I've tried it all, and I'm always interested to hear what people, what kind of makes them tick and what gets them set for the day.
I think routines are important though, just training your brain to activate or get on the same page. Or just even just like train myself with Tenzo Tea. Just like you drink and you do work, you know, like, and then you just think immediately like, oh, like, wow, like I need to do something, you know, like, and like those kind of the habit formings are real, man. Like, I think routines play a huge part in our lives nowadays, especially
100%.
Especially with like cell phones, you know, like sitting in a waiting room, pull it out.
Point out your cell phone.
Just like, no, you don't need to.
It's not even a question anymore.
You know, I think it's really powerful, man. Find something that works for you and like that keeps you in a consistent rhythm and keeps you like at your best.
Yeah. The routines are good for that reason because it keeps you in rhythm of doing what you need to do.
Totally.
What do you think Robbie's purpose is?
I think
big picture.
Big picture, man. I think just leave like a large scale positive impact on the world. I think Tenzo Tea is an amazing first start to that.
100%.
Because it's just really a true value product. It gives you a lot of energy, helps so you can be your best and do everything. I think a lot of what Steve and I built this company for too was to really learn business so we can really create more in the future, you know, like build this, get acquired, move on to something like that can, like, whether it's solving the world's water problems or like I really want to fly. Like I really want to build like a flying suit. That's what I'm probably gonna do someday. Hopefully in like 5 years.
That's badass.
You know, like I also really think too, like, I mean, if you would ask me this 3 years ago, I would have said like play in the Olympics or volleyball.
Yeah.
So I think too, like everything kind of settles down with the league and things kind of get back in wraps. I could start playing volleyball again in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that passion hasn't left.
Make that push, you know, like I just need more like support, you know. I knew and the hardest thing for me I really learned at UCLA was really biggest blessings of the West Coast is like I learned there's very few people that have a good opportunity to leave an impact in the world, and you need a lot of resources, a lot of knowledge, a lot of connections, and a lot of just like personal growth to get there. So I think a lot of our mission is just like learn, grow, build, and then so we're ready to like take on a big problem, you know, like
this could be a stepping, without knowing it now, it'll be funny in 2 years or 3 years to look back and see this moment of this conversation. But like this could be something stepping to such a bigger picture that you have no idea right now.
Totally.
But this is going to be the engine
it'll
to
connect
get
the
you
dots,
there.
you know, and I think it's really cool, man. It's like fun to learn and fun to grow. And I think like Steve, for example, wants to lead the colony on Mars. That's what his purpose in life is.
I love it.
So he's just
go right down to SpaceX, right down the road here.
Oh, he's been knocking on their door, man. Don't even worry. But for him, it's like learn to be a leader, learn to build a business, learn to like put pieces together, and like, you know. So it's kind of like I think this for us like really is a good step to like be great, you know, like and like build our personal like wealth of just like knowledge and resources and like, you know,
as long as you're enjoying the process, man.
Dude, it's fun.
I
can't only say I'm sure you feel the same way. Like working with a couple of your best friends. Yeah. You can't beat it, man.
No,
it's honestly
I love what I do.
unbeatable.
I know, when you start to see little things of even like having my man Kirk help out, he's like shooting behind the scenes visuals. I just this week launched a new blog series called Inside the Vision. I have somebody out in Illinois who's writing for the podcast. So it's like when I start to see that of building my own team, it's like, damn, this is dope. I'm connecting with people and there's more
Congrats
content.
on that.
I appreciate it. So it's what you're describing is exactly what I'm seeing. So it's like sky's the limit for both
keep
parties.
Going. Yeah.
Before I get into the closing questions, this is when I reverse the role. I allow my guests to ask me any question. It could be something we talked about today, something you want to know about me. The only thing is, it can't be a question that I asked you today, so you can't ask the same question.
Okay.
And 2, it can't directly be about the podcast.
Okay.
Any one question, fire away.
Cool. What's the hardest thing you ever learned?
The hardest thing I ever learned?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or accomplished, you could say.
I feel like this whole process of I told you not to, you know, I'm going to connect to the podcast.
No, do it.
This for sure has been what I've learned the most since this is, in a way it was hard because when I was starting the podcast, I didn't really know where I was headed. Like I knew I had this vision of like the types of guests I wanted to get on and I knew where I wanted to take this, but, I remember it was so hard for me to just finally, I spent the whole summer kind of connecting the dots and getting the branding right and kind of finally launching it at the end of the summer. And now the hardest lesson for me was like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Like, you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's this whole up in the air of, do I believe in what I'm creating? Is this like the right thing? Is this the right time? And when I finally did it, it kind of gave me the permission to just not question like what I'm doing anymore.
Love
you know,
that.
so it's like.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hard lesson in the sense of like I lost. I didn't lose something, but it was a hard lesson because it took me so long to get that process rolling that it became, I don't even overthink things anymore. Like when I spent 3 months trying to get this off the ground. Now it's like I have an idea and I act on it within a week. And if it works, dope. And I keep running with it. And I don't even care anymore. I'm not worried about the results. If I'm enjoying that process of whatever I'm creating, dope, keep doing it. And if I stop loving it, then I just stop. And that whole thing of just not caring what other people think and not worrying about the results, it's not gonna happen instantly.
Yeah, it gives me chills, man. I love that.
You know what I mean? It's just nothing is gonna happen easily, and it's not supposed to. I was watching what was I watching? David Letterman last night. He's got a new Netflix series. He had Barack Obama, Jay-Z, really dope series. And it's just him, 2 couches or 2 chairs, huge audience, and it's a Netflix series, and it's like my dream, right? Like I would love to have that one day. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, this guy has worked so hard in his life to get to this point.
Totally.
How dare I even think that I deserve that today, tomorrow, next month? Think about how many interviews, how many conversations he's had in the past 30, 40 plus years. That all led up to that. So it's like, I understand the amount of work that it takes to get to these big goals, the amount of work it's going to take to get this brand known around the world.
Right.
But I know that I have what it takes. It's just about putting in that work. So it's like, you have an idea, act on it. And if you don't love it, then stop doing it. But the only way you're ever going to get it to become so big is by actually putting in the work.
I think too, like, dude, that rings so true. Like, it honestly gives me chills. I love that. That's awesome. I love your passion, man. I think one of the biggest things that struck me too is just like putting yourself out there with the ability to fail. Yeah. Knowing that you might fail is a really, really difficult thing to do, and like be vulnerable and be like, put yourself on a place where people it might not work. Yeah. And I feel like that's like, it's brutal, man. Yeah. That's like so hard.
You know what I think the true failure is not starting.
Yeah.
Because if you
100%.
start, there's no way you fail. Because if it doesn't pan out the way you want it to work, you learn something. You pivot. Oh, I can't invest money doing this, or maybe I shouldn't have tried to sell it to this person. Okay, you learn. If you hit, you hit. Great. Awesome. You still learn. You learn from both not getting what you want and getting what you want. But you were never going to have either of those options if you never started.
Totally.
So to me, it's like and I didn't know this when I started the podcast, believe me, whoever's listening, I didn't understand this concept, but truthfully, the only way you fail is by never starting that thing and going
it's
for it.
So freeing too. Yeah. Once you start, I feel like you get all those crazy thoughts out of your head, and you just put it on
endless
paper, you put it on video.
It's like that little another emoji. It's like that little bubble thought emoji. It's like there's literally a space of just impossible, or like so many different ideas that you could go with. It's like the world is literally yours. But that's a great question.
Cool.
Closing questions for you. I want you to imagine there is a picture frame on the wall. Yeah. 10 years from now, you are in it.
Right.
What and who else do we see in that picture frame 10 years from now?
10 years.
10
that
years.
puts me at
a little
35
years young.
Probably a family by then, man. I really hope to find an amazing wife someday who's super passionate, driven. Yes. Great person, good for the world. Yep. And have an awesome family, you know, and just like give kids the opportunity I was given. Yeah. In my life, the blessings, you know, like teach them like the things, you know, like how to grow, how to live, how to be. I think I probably have like a pretty large group photo just because I like people, you know. I'm a pretty people kind of guy.
I'm with you.
Maybe just in Africa doing something crazy.
I was going to say, where do you think? Is it going to be like in LA?
I think it's going to be like, I really think I'd love to like help solve the world water problem. We partner with Thirst Project, actually, Tenzo Tea. So every bag sold provides a year of clean water to someone in need. Wow. Which is really powerful. So it's really cool. Like I just think like a lot of the world needs a lot of catching up. Yeah. And it's so easy to like make a large impact on people who need it most.
Do you think part of that whole 10-year plan, do you think you'll end up back in New York? Do you think you'll be in LA? I know it's hard to say, but
yeah, I think I'll be in LA.
Yeah.
There's a really good chance.
Yeah.
I think, but
Sorry, mom and dad, if they hear it.
I'm sorry. You know, hopefully you guys come visit.
Yeah.
But I think LA is a cutthroat place, and I think you have to win to really live here.
Yeah.
To live in a good school district, you gotta own a house in a good area.
Yep.
It's an outrageous place in that regard.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I could also be pulled away from the city just to raise a family, because I think there's a lot of benefits to having space and growing up outside of the crazy life that exists here.
Yeah.
Maybe having like a second estate that you come back to and do business at. Like, you know, like
that's where it is.
But yeah, I would love to keep living here, man. If everything goes to plan, you know, I think it'd be a great spot
See how
to live.
it plays out.
Yeah.
Where can people find you and Tenzo Tea on social media? Connect it all up.
Yeah. My Instagram's at Robbie_Page, ROBBIE. And then Tenzo Tea is at Tenzo Tea. Our website's www.tenzotea.co. .com redirects, but it's officially .co. And Facebook is Tenzo Matcha /Tenzo Matcha.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Before I ask the last question, thank you for coming in today.
It's been a pleasure.
This was super dope. One thing that was really obvious in the beginning of this podcast that I hope people really pay attention to was that you went to school to do something in science, and then you talked about, you know, we started this business, we started this idea for a business, and all we did was just kind of read, and then act on the fly. And then we started, you know, taking in sales and learning how to reach out to people. And then we learn. It's like, this guy didn't have any of this figured out. You guys have just literally learned on the fly as you go. And that is super important for people to realize that you see the final product today. You see that these guys have like the ultimate experience. Like when you open the package, it's got everything inside. It's got stickers, and it's got the bag. It's got the scooper. This didn't just happen. This was all a learning process. So I appreciate you coming on the podcast today and being an example of that, of what what this whole podcast is about. Is like, whatever you want to do, you have an idea, just go out and try to learn and act on the fly and just learn as you go. You're not gonna have it all figured out, but I really appreciate your story and what you represent.
Yeah,
so
thanks so much, Robbie. It's been a great time. Same with you, man. I love the success you've been having. I hope you keep it up.
I appreciate
to
that.
connect you with some awesome people. Get you keep rolling, you know?
I'm good, man.
Build that reach, you know? Let's keep working it. We're together.
We're getting there,
Conquer
man.
the world, you know? You have to.
Yeah, we're definitely getting there. Last question for you. What 2 to 3 pieces of advice would you give to somebody that's listening right now, hasn't found that passion, hasn't found that purpose, still just kind of lost in the sauce of like, what am I supposed to do? What's the best 2 to 3 pieces of advice?
This is tough, you know, like I think one of the biggest things it really comes down to is like not forcing it. I feel like a lot of people are pressured through culture, like just everyone in society, to make decisions and act quickly and make long-term decisions. I don't think like any decision is long-term. I think that's a wrong way to look at it, like especially like even going to college. You don't need to finish college. It's not for you. If you graduate college, you don't need to get a 20-year job. You can get a 1-year job. You can take a 4-year gap year. Like there's so many ways to make it work, and I feel like the worst thing you can do is put yourself and trap yourself into thinking you need to make a long-term decision. Because it's way better to just be able to like, I'm passionate about this. Let's explore it. Let's try to make some money in it. Can I make money doing what I love? I can't make money doing what I love. Let's try again.
Let's try again.
Or you're supporting your belief with a secondary way of income, you know? Like, I think to say that, I think so many people, like really it's hard for me to see when someone takes a job for the money or like gets trapped in a corporate office. They don't love what they're doing. And then they leave and they quit their job and then they just do it again, you know? And it's just like, no, like what? And it's not easy for everyone to find. Like I'm pretty naturally like intuitive with my gut, and I kind of like, I love to just like let things happen, and I like blindly just go. You know, that's kind of me. I just kind of blindly go, and I know it's gonna work out. But some people can't do that. So I think like really just exploring and figuring out who you are, like what you want to do, and then seeing what aligns with your purpose. You know, same deal. Like how can you align? How can you make money doing what you love instead of like, can I love making money? It's kind of the opposite, I think.
Go from the opposite route.
Robbie, fun.
Robbie Page.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure, my man. For sure the tallest person I think I'll ever get on this podcast. Unless I get an NBA player,
I might just be.
You are going to be literally at the top of the charts.
That's amazing.
Thank you for coming in today, man.
Appreciate it.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Thanks so much.
See ya.